Welcome back, guys, to Touchdowns and Tough Crowds. I am Ryan Hagee.
I'm Max Xavier.
This is our last week filming, via Skype. We had a longer Corona scare than we expected, so we'll be back in the studio next week. I promise this time.
Coming
But
soon.
we don't mind we don't mind this that much. It's a little bit easier for the setup. So
We still got us, no need to go to the studio. Just stay at home. It's convenient.
yeah.
Hey,
But
um,
make sure to make sure to like and subscribe down below, guys. Give us some comments. Let us know whatever you think we can do better. We always want some feedback. So thank you. We're gonna kick off this week with power rankings as we always do, and I think we all know I'm gonna put it number one. It's gonna be the Pittsburgh Steelers. I said it last week. I'm done, not putting them at one. I'm done. They're 10-0. If the Chiefs were 10-0, or if the Buccaneers were 10-0, or if the Saints were 10-0, they'd be number one on everyone's power ranking. But just because it's the Steelers, everyone's got to put them behind the Chiefs. So I'm putting them at one. They're the better team. They're the best, well-rounded team. They're getting a little screwed over with this whole pushback thing with the Ravens, but we'll get to that. But they're my one, and they're staying there until they lose. So, Max, you're one.
my one, still the Chiefs. Still have yet to see a reason not to put them at one. Um, their games are close, but they're still winning. Almost every game they
Oh,
encounter.
that's why people put the Steelers at two. That's weird.
I still put the Chiefs over the Steelers almost any day of the week right now for the same reasons I have the entire season, and that is Pat Mahomes, Travis Kelsey, and Tyreek Hill. And they are
Yeah.
one of the highest power. The only reason I'm going to put them below is when I see the Steelers, if they do beat them.
Yeah.
Because right now I think their offense
The
is
AFC Championship game.
yeah it come the entire season unless something drastic happens where the Chiefs loses a game. Um, I'm gonna keep putting them at one because I need to see the Steelers defense against the Chiefs offense, which in my opinion is literally the number one defense and the number one offense. So I need to see those two clash.
Oh, it is personnel wise is
Well, just
obvious.
everything. It's
Numbers.
just
You
it's
know that the Steelers are the worst QBR, the worst passer rating,
exactly.
lowest passing yards, literally everything. And it's not even like we have great secondary guys besides Micah Fitzpatrick. It's just the pass rush is so volatile that you literally you got to get the ball out so fast. You make so many mistakes.
But once again,
You said it
other
literally
than
before we
yeah, go.
before we started recording. You literally said that we have the best pass rush win rate, and it's not even close.
You have the best win rate for pass rushing. It's not close at
Yeah,
all. It's wicked. Actually, let's see. But yeah, I'm still gonna put the Chiefs above them because you guys don't have the best secondaries. You have Minka, which is phenomenal.
that's. I
Probably one
literally
of the
think
best in
that's
his
all you
position.
need because
I
listen,
disagree. It's Pat Mahomes. I disagree.
who do the Chiefs have in the secondary though? Tyrann
That's not
Mathieu,
what I'm
and that
saying.
was
They don't need a phenomenal defense to stop the Steelers' offense. The Steelers' offense isn't great. It's
you
good.
know the
It's not
Steelers
great.
Steelers offense is fifth in the league in points per game. You know that, right?
And the Chiefs are like first by a good mile, if not
That's
more.
fine, but the Steelers have a good offense. You can't say it's average. It's better than most of the
I
league.
did say it was a good offense. I didn't say it's better than most of the
Yeah.
league, but it's
So,
not
but
an amazing offense.
The Chiefs have the best offense and a bad defense,
I
a middle of the pack
okay,
defense,
agreed. Yeah.
and the Steelers have the best defense and a top of the league offense.
See, top of the league offense for me though isn't necessarily
It's
great
true though,
offense. It is. It's
statistically
statistically
and
it's
personnel. We have like a top three wide receiver group. Our running game is atrocious, but so is the Chiefs. We have a top 10 quarterback right now. There's not a lot of great quarterbacks in the NFL. Plus, he's having a great season. Great tight end group. Eric Ebron's a good receiving tight end. Great O line, despite what the numbers say. I mean, Ben just has to get the ball out quick, which is our offense. So
so
I don't know. I just think
to me it
we
just
can
comes
attack.
down to which one's going to be able to outscore the other versus the other team's defense, and I think that the Chiefs will be able to outscore the Steelers against the Steelers defense versus the Steelers
You remember
against the
the?
Chiefs defense.
This is the last thing I'm going to say about the Colts and the Steelers.
Okay.
You remember last year when Mahomes played the Colts at Arrowhead and held them to 13 points? This is before the Colts got DeForest Buckner.
Vaguely
Do you remember that game?
Yeah,
They
I
held them
do.
to like 13 points or something. Pat Mahomes ended up winning the game, but the Colts didn't play any offense. Um, my point being is that they got pressure with four guys whose names we don't even know, and it made Pat Mahomes pissed. frantic. He was still. It was his what second, third season, and it's his fourth season now. Don't get me wrong, but I think this is like that T.J. Watt and Pat Mahomes are from the same draft class
I
too,
do,
right?
yeah.
I think that's really cool. I
That
think
is
that's
pretty
like
cool.
best defensive player from the draft. Miles Garrett too, obviously, but TJ and Mahomes face off, and I think TJ's going to get the best one. You know me, I love defense, but whatever. That's the last thing I'm going to say about the Steelers and the Chiefs because we always dwell way too
Yeah.
much on
So
that.
I have Chiefs at 1, you have Steelers at 1. Who's your 2?
And then two,
Obviously,
Chiefs.
yeah. We
You
literally just
Steelers.
talked. I have Steelers. Okay, so 1 and 2, we
Yeah,
already know. Same, literally the same as it's always been, except for Ryan switching
yeah.
the Steelers and Chiefs at
Also,
1.
my one thing about the Chiefs too is like if they ever do take their foot off the pedal on offense, you saw it last like with the Buccaneers. They were able to like find their way a little bit back into the game, Like the Buccaneers were able to.
They were.
It was 27-24. Don't like the
They
Chiefs had
also they did
complete control of the game.
yeah, they did get 2
But
touchdowns in the fourth quarter, which is garbage time. But still, it shouldn't have been that close. They shouldn't have let it
no,
get that close.
like if I'm a Chiefs fan, I'm like, here we go. Like that's classic Steelers shit. Like here we go. Fourth quarter, something's gonna happen. We have to like bite this one out. But that's another thing about the Chiefs is like if they do take their foot off the pedal on offense, their defense is wicked vulnerable.
That is true.
That's where I think the Steelers are going to attack. Okay, my three.
I just don't.
My
think
three
the
is the
Steelers have
Saints.
We'll continue. Continue. Yeah.
The Steelers don't have the offense.
I don't think the Steelers have the offense. No, you're right.
Yeah, well, we're gonna have enough offense to beat the Ravens for a second time. So
That's not what I'm talking about. I don't think you can. I don't give a shit
the
about
Saints.
the Ravens right now.
The Saints are 3 for me. There's just no other good teams in the NFL. I don't think besides the Chiefs and the Steelers. Honestly, the Saints are good once they get Drew Brees back. They actually play a lot more defense than people know. Too the
Solid
Saints.
defense.
Um, they held Atlanta to like barely any points in the last week when they played them with Taysom Hill, and that surprised me. I thought Atlanta was going to beat them in a blowout because they didn't have Drew Brees and they were going to keep up, but their defense surprised me. So when Drew Brees comes back, like they could put up a fight in a Super Bowl, but I think it's going to be like at the end of the day, the AFC wins the Super Bowl, like I've always said. Yeah, that's pretty much it for me. For like the NFC, it's the Saints. The Packers could maybe outscore them in an NFC title game, but that's it for me. I think it's the Chiefs and the Steelers fighting for it.
Yeah, I'll agree with you there. I have the Saints at 3. They beat the Broncos 31-3. I don't give a shit about the Broncos. They're not
As they should have.
They're not a team as they should have.
Well, they
against
had a wide receiver at quarterback.
A practice squad wide receiver. So like to me, it's like this game proved nothing for them, both negatively or positively. So I look back at their last game before this, which was against the Falcons. And I mentioned it before. The Falcons are a high power offense, right? They suck at defense, but they score points. And they held them to 9, which is the first time all year they've been held below 16 points. So, and like you mentioned, right, the Chiefs and the Steelers are the top 2 teams in the league. And then it's like, okay, who's playing good football, but isn't necessarily like,
it's nuts.
one
I've
of those
never
teams in the league.
never seen anything like
No,
it.
there's always
This is the weirdest
like
season ever.
4 or 5 teams that are just dominating the league. This year,
Yeah, we say
two.
this every week.
It's 2.
It's
Because
nuts.
like you could say like Seattle, the Saints, the Bill, but they're not doing it like the Chiefs.
Seattle's
and
out of it
Steelers.
for me.
They're not doing it like the
Seattle's out of it.
Seattle's
for
out
me.
of it.
They're
But-
done.
But still, there's other teams you can like Packers, right? 8-3 or whatever. It's like, but they're not.
Oh, the Packers
they're
could
still
win the
not
NFC.
dominating. They're still like every other team other than the Chiefs and the Steelers have lost games they shouldn't be losing.
Yeah.
Have
Well, usually the Chiefs and the Steelers do too, but they're just not.
no, they're not. Like
That's the
they're-
difference.
Yeah.
That's what's surprising to me is like they're just like even the Chiefs, they lost that one game to the Raiders. It's divisional. It's personal. I get it. If we lost to the Steelers, I would if we lost to the Ravens, I would understand. But if we lost to the football team, no, I wouldn't get it. But like that's stuff that happens every year for the Steelers. That's stuff that happens every year for the Chiefs. It's just not happening this year. Even the Pats did it with Brady. They would blow one.
And
They would
so-
blow against Miami.
And so I think the best team, other than the Chiefs and Steelers, who have been number 1 all season, is the Saints right now. So I agree with you
Yeah.
at number 3 there. So
Yeah, my 4 is the Bills.
Bills.
I feel like the top 5 is just I don't know. The Bills I like them, but I just don't think they're gonna get it done in January. And I'll tell you this much: I put the Titans at 6. We're not going to talk about them because they're low. They're past the top 5. But the Bills are easy. I'll talk about that real quick. They have a good quarterback, but I don't think you can rely on him in a seriously big game because he's young, he's inaccurate, he has a big arm and he has crazy plays. He's like Kyler Murray, or he's like, exciting to watch, but
He
I don't
is.
think they're gonna win yet. They don't have the winning side down. It takes a lot
They're
more.
getting
Like
there.
Patrick
They're
Mahomes
very close
is a
in
winner.
comparison to before.
Yeah, they're getting there, but the Bills, I mean, I don't know. I've never been a crazy fan of Josh Allen. He reminds me of a worse Ben, just not as accurate.
Worse, younger
Big,
Ben,
strong. Yeah,
right? Because he
but
has the mobility that Ben used to have.
yeah, exactly. And then what I was gonna say about the Titans is like when it comes to January and February, and you have Derrick Henry, like you have an advantage over everybody else. So if they make it to the playoffs, I'm scared. Like that's all I'm gonna say about them is like legit. They could win any game they want. Just on like you saw it against the Ravens last year. They even almost beat the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Like if you have Derrick Henry and it's February, even if your defense isn't that good, you could win legit any game. It's cold, it sucks, you can run. It doesn't matter. We'll run on you. And I don't want to face them. So I hope Tennessee gets knocked out. But it doesn't look that way right now. They're probably gonna have a better record than the Ravens. So,
They do
but yeah, they're
right
my
now.
6, and the Bills are my 4. But who's your 4?
My four is also the Bills, so we've been lining up almost head for head. It's kind of getting to the near the end of the season. Teams are defining themselves as where they stand. I've got the Bills at 4. They like I mentioned before, there's no dominant team in the league right now. But out of the teams that are there that are playing well, the Bills are certainly one of them. They've definitely had a couple slip ups. I mean, well, you can't call their loss to the Chiefs a slip up, but like their Titans loss, they let up 42 points to the Titans and they only scored 16. Like that wasn't a great showing. They lost to the Cardinals, who are another high power team right now. But other than that, they beat the Seahawks. They beat the Patriots, who've had on and off games. They're still not good, but
They
they've
haven't beaten anyone I'm impressed with.
that's true. They've not. Well, other than the Seahawks, I would at the time the Seahawks, right? Because that was the beginning of their losing
They
streak.
they took down the Seahawks. No, the Seahawks had just lost to the Cardinals too. They were reeling.
But that was
They
one
should
loss.
beat.
They
They
weren't
should
on
beat
that
the
four loss
Seahawks. Because
streak.
listen, yeah, but they should beat the Seahawks.
Agreed.
That team should beat the Seahawks. The Seahawks don't play defense. They're supposed to score points, and they're supposed to stop teams from scoring points. So that was a game they should have won. But other than that, they lost the other games that they should have won, if you ask me. That's what makes them, 4 for us, I guess.
Yeah, I'm more excited to see their performance. Their what is it week 14 performance
15.
against 15 against you guys, or is it 14?
Yep. 15.
It's 15.
No, 14. It's
Yeah, I was
14.
gonna say it's
No, I can't
14.
remember.
I'm pretty sure it's 14 because you play them. You play them,
Washington next week.
and then the week after is the Bills. Yeah. But like that's a performance I want to watch because even if they lose that game, if they still perform well and like keep that game extremely competitive the entire time, then that solidifies themselves in my top 5 for the rest
I
of the
think
year.
they're going to suck. Honestly, like, I don't mean to be like a
No,
wicked braggy Steelers fan, but like, that's a team that doesn't match up well with us. And football is all about matchups. Like, you're supposed to be able to, like, first of all, they're going to want to run first because that's their team. And their defense is a bend, don't break kind of thing. They don't have any, like, serious superstar rushing the passer. They don't. They have a
no,
great middle linebacker and they have a great corner and 2 Pro
their
Bowl every
DBs are
other
pretty
year
good. Yeah,
safeties. Yeah, but so do the Ravens, and you saw what happened when Ben faced the Ravens.
yeah.
At the end of the
I
game, he picked them
know
apart.
like versus. I know that the Steelers are going to be able to beat the Bills
Bills. If they
defense.
score on
I
us,
just
I'll be
I
surprised.
want to see Josh Allen, and I want to see Stephon Diggs, and I want to see that offense against the Steelers defense because that to me is a gauge of how well they are, how good they are
You know
right
what the
now.
difference is in that game is if John Brown plays,
Yeah,
because we have trouble guarding fast receivers,
you
which is
do.
why I'm a little worried about Pat Mahomes and
Tyreek.
Tyreek Hill,
Yeah,
but we'll probably just stick Minka over the top the entire game. On like that's what we would do with John Brown. He torched us last year, and he was their number one. Now we got to worry about Diggs too, so we'll probably stick like a slot guy on him. I don't know.
regardless,
It'll be weird. They're gonna have
that's
to blanket. I don't know what they're gonna do with Tyreek. Honestly, that's a game plan that I study a lot, but I just don't know what I would do there. But yeah, you're right. If
Bills at
they
4.
do well in that game, I'll give them some credit. But it's just another one of those games that if you can't score enough on the Cardinals to win, I don't think you're gonna score enough on us to win.
No,
As a gauge,
yeah,
same
no,
thing with the
agreed.
Buccaneers. If you can't score enough on the Chiefs to win, you're not gonna score enough on the Steelers to
I
win.
mean, they put up
The Chiefs have
17,
scored enough to.
and they held the Chiefs to 26, which isn't it's not.
Who's this?
This is
The
the Bill.
Buccaneers?
No, Bills and Chiefs. I'm sorry, Bills and Chiefs. I was talking about how they held the Chiefs to 26, which is high, but not like not like their usual games.
Yeah, but the Buccaneers held it. Like, imagine, dude. Listen, the Bills scored. They held the Chiefs to 26, and the Buccaneers held them to 27. What do you think the Steelers defense is going to hold them to?
I mean, if they play well, tremendously low.
Well, it's going to be the AFC Championship game, so let's be very clear.
They have to
They are
play
bringing
well.
their A
They
game.
have to
They are
play well.
bringing their A game. This
Yeah,
is this,
both
and it's
teams
going to
are
be at
though.
home.
Both teams are playing their A game. I just don't
I'm
know if
sure
they
of
can
that.
contain that offense. I really don't know if they can contain
It's going to
that
be dogs
offense.
versus dogs, and I will take the hungrier dogs. I'm just going to say it. I think we're hungrier. I think they have too much confidence over there. We keep going back. We have to stop.
Okay.
My five's the Packers. Like I said before, the NFC is between them and the Saints. It's just who can score more points in the NFC Championship game, basically. And I think actually it might be the Packers. And if the Packers are in the Super Bowl, let me tell you something. It is going to be the biggest slaughter of a Super Bowl you've ever seen in your entire life. Whether it be the Steelers, the Chiefs, or the Titans. Because it's one of those three teams, if you ask me. Maybe the Bills. I wouldn't really take the Bills in any playoff game.
Yeah.
But maybe that means I should put the Titans ahead of the Bills, but I kind of can't just because of I think the Bills are going to win their division and roll. But yeah, as I was saying, I like that team versus a team that means business, who's like hard nosed, gonna kick your ass. No thanks. The Packers, I love them. I actually think that they're really cool on offense. I don't love Aaron Rodgers, but Devontae Adams is a stud, and like Aaron Jones is fun to watch. But their defense is really, really bad, especially up front. So I would just put them. I put them in my top five because they're the second best team in the NFC. Their record's good, and they have a chance to be in the Super Bowl. So they have to be in my top five.
That's fair.
Yeah.
They are not in my top five because I
'Cause you're
chose the
fifth.
number 5 who can beat the Packers. And while they didn't have a great performance last week, I still believe that their number 5 is the Rams.
Oh boy, they dropped so hard for me.
That's
They dropped all the way to 10.
that's like
You were my 3 last week.
yeah, I know. I still have them at 5. They also dropped for me, but I still have them at 5. Because it's just one of those games like everyone else in the season has where they drop a game. Right, to me, this is just a game they didn't
They
prepare
might not
for.
make the
They
playoffs
went into
now.
overconfidently. I think they still have. I mean, they're second in their division right now. I still think they'll make the playoffs.
They're third, I thought.
Second, Cardinals are 6-5. They're 7-4.
Oh, they're 7-4 now.
Mm-hmm.
All right, yeah. I guess I should put them ahead of the Cardinals then, but I don't know.
I
I just think Kyler Murray versus the Rams. We'll find out this week, actually.
that we will find out
You know,
this week.
We'll find out this week.
But like,
But the Cardinals,
I still have the
both of
Rams
those
at 5.
teams.
I still have the Rams because I think the Rams are a lot
Jared
more-
Goff. Think about it like this, all right?
All
Jared Goff head to head with Aaron Rodgers in a playoff game
in a playoff game. Still think Aaron Rodgers loses that.
in Green Bay.
Okay, still, I'm just saying, like, not Super Bowl, but like in that situation where, tough playoff game, no home advantage. I think the Rams win.
I disagree, but That's you.
I think Aaron Rodgers breaks too easily. And I think the Rams.
I agree, but I
the
just
Rams
think
team
like
overall is a very tough team.
yeah, I don't know. I think Aaron Rodgers would win that one. Just based off, he would score. He would score. He would have to score. He would know that. It's like Ben when he faced the Jaguars in like 2017 or whatever, and we put up 42 on that defense, but they put up 45 on us. Ben was like, I know what I have to do this week.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with Aaron Rodgers, I think. In that game, he'd be like, we're gonna let up points probably. But he's like, I'm gonna score more. So I would just think that I would take the 15-year vet over the kid who is way overpaid in his like 6th year or something like
He's
that.
overpaid,
Yeah.
but
No.
I've never seen him once be cocky or overconfident. Never once.
No, I agree, but he stinks. Like he's not very good. He's a system quarterback. He's like Tom
but
Brady.
he fits the system that they're working in right now. So
Sometimes.
if he gets the job done more so than most other quarterbacks are doing it right now, other than of course the top 10
No, he gets it done sometimes, not all the time.
Most times.
Tom Brady got it done.
most times.
He gets it done sometimes. No, sometimes.
Most times.
They stink a lot of the time. Dude, the past like 2 years since they lost Todd Gurley, they've stunk. After the Super Bowl,
That's true. After
That
the
was
Super
just,
Bowl,
like,
they
downhill.
dropped. But this year, I think with the
Downhill
defense that they
fast.
have, I think that with the offense that they have, offense isn't high power, but I think that they're the number 5 in the league still right now for me.
yeah, I know.
I don't know. I really don't like the Packers. I think they're a team that easily crumbles.
You sound like me at the beginning of the season. We
Yeah.
both switched.
I think that the Packers
I
are
just-
a team that very easily crumbles.
Yeah.
I don't know. Who else
It's
is
just my thing
competitive right now? The Seahawks, but the Seahawks have just been going downhill for me, so I'm still nervous about the Seahawks.
My thing is, the teams that are going to win in February, the teams with the quarterback, or with Derrick Henry, but only one
That's
team has
true.
Derrick Henry.
I'm
So
still not looking at February though. I'm looking at regular season power rankings. Going into the playoffs, my power
I'm
rankings
looking. This
snowball
is this is
together.
this is playoffs power rankings for me now. We're going into the
You're
serious stuff.
talking okay. I'm still talking about regular season. My playoff power ranking is probably very different, but regardless, I think right now, this instant, the Rams are 5.
Yeah. All right. Honorable mentions. Buccaneers slid, Rams slid, Cardinals slid, Seahawks slid, but they're all still in the top 10. I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, agreed
Ra-
entirely.
Ravens, if you want to say, I don't
Ravens
know.
are like my 11 at this point, in all honesty.
But all right, we're gonna do current sports events next. So stick around, guys. All right, what's up, guys? We're gonna do current sports events next. This week was pretty simple for this because I think we all know what's going on, and it's kind of driving both of us here nuts. The Ravens and Steelers game. It just seems to keep getting pushed further and further and further away. It's just I don't know. You should hear my father complain about it. It is bad in this household because we've actually, like I said, been locked up for Corona, and so we're like, oh, at least we get to watch the Steelers play on Thanksgiving Day. And then I drop the bomb on him that it's on Sunday, and he's like, that's ridiculous. And then I was like, on Sunday, I was like, yeah, it's actually on Monday or Tuesday now. And he was like, what? What do you mean? And then, of course, last night I text him and I tell him it's on Wednesday at
Yeah.
3:40. You should have seen his reaction. It was not pretty. But
Yeah.
from what I heard, and this is like through the grapevine, Players Association said this, a bunch of the Ravens players actually were refusing to play, claiming that it was a safety hazard. So there's this NFL bargaining agreement with the NFL Players Association, and it's basically stating that they can't go on strike because last time there was a lockout, NFL lost a lot of money, and there's like a loophole, obviously, like there is with any contract, and they're basically like, we don't have to play if there's a safety hazard. So they didn't want to play because they had no preparation. They had a new center who's never started in the NFL, and they're like, that guy has to go up against Cam Hayward. Basically, is what they were saying. It was a really smart idea, but I heard it was all John Harbaugh's idea too, and he's being a huge crybaby about all this.
That sounds
But
like a lot of speculation. So obviously it's not confirmed, right?
no, but all the players did say that. The
But it's,
speculation was John
the
Harbaugh.
speculation is
The
that it
players,
was planned from John Harbaugh because of a lack of
yeah, he was like,
personnel.
I wanna practice before the game or whatever. But the Titans for 2 weeks didn't practice once and played 2 games. The Steelers didn't have Ben Roethlisberger at practice all for 1 week because he was close contact and then still played a game. I don't know.
I
I
wouldn't.
get he wants to practice. I totally get it, dude. But it's the NFL, and a ton of other teams have had the same situation and didn't get a practice. So instead, he sent his players in to say they feel unsafe, which is totally fine. Like Bill Belichick did this for years. He bent the rules to get a little bit extra out of whatever he could, and it worked. But that's the speculation about Harbaugh wanting a practice. But the players were like, we can either not play on Tuesday or you can figure out another way because basically the NFL said, we're not doing a week 18. Either you play or there's 8 seeds in the playoffs. And actually, the Ravens should have been like, all right, we're not playing. We'll take that 8 seed.
Yeah, if anything, we need the
Honestly.
8 seed. Um, I don't know
But
if it is John Harbaugh's play. I'm a little disappointed.
well, I'm
Obviously,
not surprised, though.
I know that he's definitely not the only coach who's tried to pull something like that. But if it is, about players, genuinely about player safety, then I completely understand that.
These guys are professionals. They've already played the Steelers once. It's not player
COVID
safety.
doesn't give a shit if you're a professional or not.
No, I'm
It's
not
not.
saying about COVID. I'm just saying, like, you are professional. Other teams have gone through the same situation, and they've played anyways. But this
Is there
team,
a full report though of everyone who has COVID though on that team?
yes, there have been no positives the past 2 days. Or one, like last night they tested again, no positives. Or the morning, and then you guys had a practice last night, and now they want to practice today.
Alright.
But the Steelers didn't have practice all weekend because we had 3 positives. I think we had a practice on Monday, which is yesterday. I don't know. It's a weird situation. I think the Steelers have been out of facility as well, and we haven't said anything. But I don't know. All I know is all of the Steelers players are tweeting a ton, being angry, and that the Ravens had a players conference via Zoom or whatever, or Skype, and they all said we're not playing unless you figure something out. and they push it again. I don't know. I don't like Harbaugh's. I don't like the one that coaches Michigan either. I don't, for obvious reasons. I don't like the guy who wears blue and or purple and black. But that was a little shady. Mike Tomlin's done some shady stuff too. Not proud of that, but that one made me mad because, like, I get it. Your team's reeling. You're 6-4. You want to like kind of weasel your way into a win, maybe. I don't know. Awkward situations. Take a good team off its game. I would do this. Listen, if I were a head coach, I would do the same thing. If that were my football team, I didn't have my starting quarterback, regardless, I'd be like, all right, that's fine. I'll just try and get as much out of this other team to make them in a really weird situation so I can try and beat them because they're the best right now. You know, you got to try and take them down in whatever way you can. Bill Belichick did it for years. So, power to him, man. I just want to watch the game. And I can't.
I think I do want to watch the game.
But I'm going to be at work now, so I'm going to miss the whole thing.
Wednesday at 3. I won't be at work. Let's go.
Yeah, you'll be at home. This is probably the first Ravens game you've watched in a while.
Yeah, I know.
Because you usually work on Sundays.
I work on Sundays and it sucks.
But yeah, my dad's going to be like, do you want me to record it for you? And be like, no, I'm just going to watch it at work.
Yeah. I'll just take a 4-hour break. What do you thought? Do you think they're going to delay it anymore? Do you think they're going to cancel it? Do you think they're going to play
If they delay it anymore, it's next week. Or it's
if they
it's
delay
canceled.
it anymore, it's just canceled. Yeah.
It's canceled.
So-
There's no delaying it anymore. It's either tomorrow or it's not happening.
You mean Wednesday?
Yeah, tomorr's Wednesday.
Oh, that's
So
right.
It's Tuesday today.
My bad.
Yeah, it's COVID brain.
Yeah. Stuck at home.
But yeah, I don't know. I want to see the game played. This is a big game for the Steelers as much as it is for the Ravens. So this is a stressful game for me every time I play the Ravens. So I'm just ready for it to be played. And now actually also the Steelers Washington game is next Monday instead of Sunday at 5. So I won't see that one either because I'll be at work again. I'm losing 2 here, Max. I'm losing 2 because of Harbaugh. I'm losing 2.
That brings me joy. That alone brings me joy.
Gosh, it makes me mad.
That does bring me. Or what's the Thanos line? This does bring me joy, or something like this. I don't know.
Oh, but this I will enjoy.
Yeah, that. That's me right now.
Yeah.
So yeah. Are you all set with your sports news then?
Yeah, I rambled for long enough about that.
Because I have, an unfortunate one. I'm going to talk about Diego Maradona. Incredible soccer legend, recently passed away. Unfortunately.
Did you see what Pele said?
I did not see what Pele said. No.
He like it was on Bleacher Report. It was like one day we'll play football together in the sky. It was really sad. He was like, I lost a really dear friend today because they were wicked close.
Yeah, they what was it? They were tied winners for the footballer of the 20th century.
Yeah.
The first place winners were Pele and Diego Maradona, and they won the player of the 20th century. Like,
yep.
That's
kind of nuts.
That is. And
that is pretty nuts
to me. Like, and I literally watched the news all over, watched how upset people were getting, and to me, this literally looked like when you have the jersey behind you. Actually, like when Kobe died. Except this is international, right? Kobe was definitely
well, you look overseas and people are way more emotional about it. I mean,
if you watch the funeral proceeding for Maradona. And how they did it, they had people walk through and walk by his. They did a closed casket, but they walked by his casket, and it was just like seeing some of these people like cry and just bawl their eyes out after losing a legend like this at like he was like 62. Yeah, he was 60.
Yeah, young.
That's
young.
And it was right after. It was literally right after he had surgery for a blood clot in his brain. A successful surgery.
Yeah, he wasn't wicked. It was successful, but he obviously wasn't in good health. Obviously, he died.
Yeah, I mean,
but
obviously,
it's like it's the same thing. You couldn't watch the Kobe funeral proceeding because just of all the I watched the one thing when Shaq spoke, and I was balling up a little bit, and I was like, man, or welling up, whatever the saying is. I was like, I gotta turn this off. Anything, whenever you lose someone that I don't know, it's big. It's big time, especially overseas.
Especially someone who had such an influence on the world, on a sport, right? Which is something watched by hundreds of millions of people, right? Hundreds of
biggest sport
in
the biggest sport worldwide.
Agreed.
Is soccer.
Yeah.
So that hit home for people that we can't even understand. It's so. But
very unfortunate loss for soccer community, for the world, for just everyone in general. Was Diego Maradona.
Yeah, agreed. All right, we're gonna move on to a lighter note. We're gonna go into fantasy picks next, guys. So stick around.
Thank you for watching so far.
Next up, guys, we're gonna roll into fantasy picks for the week. No, we're not counting the Steelers Ravens game, even though it's on a Wednesday. Super weird. I don't know.
That was considered last week. We're not gonna.
I guess I don't know. I don't even know what to think anymore with this season. I think it might get canceled, but that's besides the point. At some point in the next few weeks, it might get ugly, which would be ridiculous for me. But my my fantasy pick, my first one is to sit Deshaun Watson versus the Colts, and there's a few reasons for it. He just lost Will Fuller, first of all, which is big. Will Fuller was his leading receiver easily by a mile, wasn't even close. He had like 876 yards receiving, I think 8 touchdowns, 10 touchdowns.
Either way, regardless, the number one receiver on the team by a mile.
So now their wide receivers are Brandon Cooks, who I think is hurt. I don't know. I haven't heard his name in a while. Randall Cobb, and they had Kenny Stills, I think, but he's gone.
They released Kenny Stills.
So their wide receiver room is looking rough, as it has since DeAndre Hopkins left. It's like a retirement home. But besides Will Fuller, obviously. But and then also he's playing Indianapolis, so that defense, it's a huge game for them, first of all, because the Titans are kind of running away with the division a little bit. They just put their foot down on Indianapolis last week. We all saw it. It was really bad, 45-26, and Derrick Henry scored 3 touchdowns in the first half.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a Tyreek Hill performance, some would say.
Some would say, after getting almost 300 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Indy's defense is probably coming out mad as hell. I'd bet.
Well,
I'd put some serious money on
Do
it.
they have DeForest Buckner back this week?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
Regardless, that's a good position. They have good personnel. I mean, not a good position. They have good personnel all along the front line, so I think they'll be okay. But if they have DeForest Buckner, it definitely helps.
Yeah.
But Houston's not going to be able to establish the run on them because they stink in the run game regardless. So that's going to stink. Deshaun Watson might struggle a little bit. I might be wrong here because Deshaun Watson is actually kind of playing like a man possessed right now. I'm not going to lie. The past few games, he's looked really good. But I think Indy has a lot riding on this game, so I would just sit Deshaun in my best interest just because I think it's leaning more towards the Colts.
Even if Deshaun does play well, fantasy-wise, it's probably not going to be great.
Yeah, I think he might throw a few picks. I think he might run for a little bit, just some broken plays maybe. But it would legit have to be on Deshaun Watson's shoulders to win this game. So either they live and die. So either he gets completely taken out of the game or he blows up. I don't think there's going to be a mediocre in between.
Yeah, Will Fuller makes up for roughly a third of Deshaun Watson's passing yards and 8 of his 24 touchdowns.
So also a third.
Yeah, also a third. So yeah,
pretty much.
Not looking great for him.
No. Yep, I would not play him.
I just realized we didn't even talk about Will Fuller for sports events because of his supposed he got suspended.
Yeah, but the thing is, literally that night, Bradley Roby got suspended for 6 games too, and they're on the same team for PEDs. Right. But Will Fuller said it was because a medical advisor advised him
at the beginning of the season.
Because he had just got surgery, and so he took something that was supposed to help him with his rehabilitation process. Which I, as a player, would be like, all right, so you say this is safe, but can we get a second opinion because my season's on the line? I'm surprised he hasn't gotten tested prior to this, right?
For me, it was the fact that he mentioned that he's been taking it since the beginning of the season, right? Considering he willingly admitted that, to me, it seems like it was genuine. Like it was, like he had no ill intent of it.
Well, Taylor Lewan or whatever his name is, not him. Taylor Lewan last season did the same thing, and I'm always like, dude, like really, be honest with yourself. You had to if you had any suspicion, or you'd get a second opinion. If I'm an NFL player and I'm like, this might jeopardize my season. I'm not in the dark on anything. I'm controlling all of my resources. I'm like, this is like, I got my hand in everything I'm doing. I'm not just going to let one guy decide if this is okay or not okay. I'm going to let 2 or 3 guys let me know. Maybe send
Yeah.
it to a lab. I don't know.
Send it to like compare it against the NFL's list.
Legit, like I don't know a lot about it, obviously, because I don't play in the NFL. But
So
I
speaking,
legit, yeah, I don't know. Sorry,
I'm trying to
I
get back on track. I diverted us too much. Um, I was like, we already talked
go
sports
ahead.
events. I was just gonna say,
Yeah,
speaking of quarterbacks, I have a sit as well. I have sit Kyler Murray against a Rams defense who
Rams.
did not play well last week. And just like the Colts, they're gonna come back and they're gonna want to absolutely destroy this Cardinals team. Um,
Yeah,
and
you're
Kyler,
right.
if you look at Kyler Murray, he has not been performing phenomenally recently. He's been on the decline. Not a huge decline, but you can tell. Compared to his earlier games where he had easy games, he played super well. And now the mid-season, late season, he hasn't
It's
been
the
playing.
struggle of a second-year quarterback.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, season's really long. You play some good teams at the end of the season, some good defenses. It's frustrating. You don't have the defense to really on your team to back you up.
agreed.
You don't have like he has D Hop, but he doesn't have a great running game. His O line's still a little suspect. Um, I agree. I just think like for him, he'll get it eventually, but maybe not this
Yeah.
year. You know.
This game might also be like he might end up having a good game, but I still don't think fantasy-wise it's not going to be great at all. It's
Yeah,
going to
which
be
stinks because I have my other league.
I don't think it's going to be great. I say sit Kyler Murray, but that's only if you have someone else who has either a good game or a decent game coming up, right?
Yeah, it's like sitting Patrick Mahomes
You right?
a
It's
little bit.
like yeah, you're sitting Patrick Mahomes because he's playing a tough defense, but he's still going to get probably like 20.
Oh, I would never. I would never sit
No,
Patrick
I would
Mahomes.
never sit Patrick Mahomes either.
That's
But
a different
like,
level. Sorry, I
say
should have said
say
it's
we had
like
a
sitting
regular
Russell
season.
Wilson.
If we had a regular season game where Pat Mahomes played the Steelers defense, I'd be like, okay, I'm a little cautious to play him because odds are he's getting like 18 to 24 points. Um,
Oh, he'd probably score a little. Yeah, he'd get his points
yeah,
against the Steelers.
he gets his points, but like Kyler Murray in this situation was one of the players where I'm saying sit if you have a good quarterback or even a mediocre quarterback to back him up. Like say you have Kyler Murray, and I'm just trying to think of an example. Like you had Teddy Bridgewater on your bench. If he's playing an easy matchup, I'm not sure who he's playing, but if someone on your team, if your backup quarterback has an easy matchup, play him over Kyler Murray because this
I
is
have Kirk
not
Cousins in the league because it's a 16 man, so I'm gonna play Kyler
because
Murray.
he's playing the Jags.
Oh, Kirk Cousins
Kirk
playing the
Cousins is
Jags.
playing the Jags.
Oh, I'm gonna play him.
Yeah, I was like, the Jags have
Why
the
not?
worst defense in football right now, hands down.
Yeah,
Overall,
why not?
they have
Right?
the worst defense in
Yeah.
football.
All right. My next start sit my fantasy pick is gonna be Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb against the Titans.
Yeah.
And people like the Titans defense at the beginning of the year they were like top. Actually, they still might be top 5 in turnover differential. Steelers being 1. I think Chiefs 2 because they just don't turn the ball over. So I think they're really opportunistic, but I think their personnel is utter crap. Besides Kevin Byard at safety, Rashawn Evans at middle linebacker, and that kid Jeffrey Simmons at D tackle, every other guy on that team is kind of just like a what's the word? I don't know what the word is. Kind of just like a rotating piece. Like they just kind of found their way to Tennessee, and
A filler.
they're
They're
doing
a
their job.
filler.
Role
Yeah.
player. That's the word I'm looking for. Um, So basically, I just think like Jadeveon Clowney is always out, and they paid $16 million for him,
Yeah.
18 million maybe. So my big thing with them is just their ability to stop the run and the pass is very suspect. So I think these two guys will have days, but I think at the end of the day, they're probably going to force some turnovers and beat the Browns. If I'm going to be honest with you. Plus, Derrick Henry's going to do his job. But another thing I was going to say is that the Browns defense, its best features up front with Myles Garrett and the linebacking core. So I think they'll be able to at least minimize Derrick Henry a little bit for at least the early portion of the game. Maybe as it gets later on, of course, Derrick Henry's going to get his touches, get angrier, whatever. He always runs better at
Browns
carry
also have a
15.
really good offensive line to kind of support the run game there. So
Yeah.
I think,
So I think they can muscle around the Titans D line.
yeah.
And I think Kareem Hunt, I don't know. They feed those guys every week. I think this week especially, they're going to have their way. But I don't know. I'm a big Nick Chubb guy. You know that. I think he's awesome. Ever since he broke his leg and came back, I thought you remember that injury.
I do.
That was
I do.
disgusting
Yeah,
when he was
that
at
really
Georgia.
bad.
But
and he
I
came back
think
and
he
improved himself more and more,
yeah, well he went in the second round behind Sony Michel.
which is ironic.
Get this, ready? Really quick. I was with some Patriots fans last night. We were playing poker. And I was like, so you guys pick Sony Michel over Nick Chubb. and then you next year, the year after, you pick N'Keal Harry over DK Metcalf, Darius Slayton, Deontay Johnson, and AJ Brown.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Are you serious?" I was like, "This is like the worst drafting I've seen in forever." That was like
No, there's
we
been
had
worse.
the
There's been worse.
there's worse. Well, yeah, they could have picked Marquise Brown over DK Metcalf.
Oh man. Okay.
Oh, sorry, my bad. But
We
yeah,
could have
but
picked Artie
that's
Burns
sorry. That's
first
just
round
a
and then
quick thing.
sent him off 2 years later.
Listen, we could have picked Chase Claypool in the second. I don't know what to tell you. Everyone makes mistakes, I guess. But yeah, that's I don't know. That came out of nowhere for me. But yeah, I think the Titans defense is gonna let up some yards to the backs, maybe a touchdown or two. But in the end, they're gonna take away from Baker because he's a horrible thrower of the football and win the game. But your other starter set, your fantasy pick?
My start is a part of the team we were just speaking of, the Vikings against the Jags. I have Justin Jefferson, who has been
Yeah.
going off this entire season, and it's very subtle. It's not talked about a lot.
It's not really subtle because they want to give him the offensive rookie of the year.
They
Like
do, but
like
I
it's
still feel like he's not talked about right now. Just like,
well, the Vikings have sucked.
yeah, that's part of the reason. That's part of the reason. The Vikings aren't a good team. Good enough to destroy the Jags because anyone is.
Facts.
But I'm saying start Justin Jefferson against the Jags because, as I mentioned, overall the Jags have the worst defense in the league. If you don't believe me, you're just wrong. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh, and start James Robinson.
I mean,
just
you
to
could,
throw
you
out
could,
there.
You could say like the Jets or the Seahawks are up there as well.
I would probably put the Seahawks up. I mean, they have Jamal Adams, so I can't really say, and Bobby Wagner. So personally, I'm a big personnel guy. Like I say, stats don't really read for me, but they have two All Pros, former All Pros on that defense.
I'm really
so I can't.
disappointed that you're considering Jamal Adams a personnel.
He's really good, dude. He's having a bad
He's
season.
really
It
good when he
happens.
plays at linebacker.
He's good. He's a good
when
safety. Dude.
he's good when he blitzes. I'll give him that. That's it. That's all.
I wouldn't give up two. I wouldn't give up two first rounders for him.
No, not
but
ever.
he's phenomenal. I think give it some time, put some players around him, they'll be just fine in Seattle. Trust me. They're gonna build another. They're gonna build another Legion of Boom. I swear to God. Draft a guy, like take away some money from the offense, dude. I mean, they can't. They actually don't have that much money in it. They had a horrible offensive line literally like 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what happened. They were relying on their defense, and now all of a sudden it's the Russell Wilson show.
Well,
And that's just
DK
not how
Metcalf.
Seattle wins. Well, yeah. And Tyler Lockett, who's phenomenal. But yeah, you're right. I would start Justin Jefferson. I mean, that's almost too easy. But Adam Thielen might be back, but whatever. It doesn't really matter. Justin Jefferson has the most yards on that team still. Just a great route runner. And you saw when he was at LSU too with Joe Burrow, because Joe Burrow loved throwing to him.
yeah.
A three-star recruit. And the
he
Eagles
catches
passed
a lot.
on him. The Eagles passed on him and picked Jalen Rager. Who? Excuse me?
You don't know, dude? Jalen Rager, Breaker of Chains.
Oh, I used to use that guy in Madden all the time just because he was fast, but he ended up being a little bit. Well, he's on the worst offense like ever, pretty much. It's like the worst offense in football right now, the Eagles. But actually, they're not horrible. They can fight, but I don't know. They have no weapons, and Jalen Rager doesn't help. But yeah, regardless, I would start Justin Jefferson. I agree. All right. We're gonna do what's next? Oh, breakout players
Breakout
next.
players,
So
yeah.
be right back. All right, guys, we're back. We're gonna roll into breakout players next. This week, my guy. I haven't talked about him yet. I love this kid. I have loved him since the draft. A bunch of people said I was kind of wrong about him. Chase Claypool. I mean, I wasn't wrong. To be clear, just to say it first, he's a stud. I don't know if he can be. I mean, I think he can be one of the best wide receivers in football going forward. I mean, look at DK Metcalf, kind of the same archetype. Great downfield, great speed, great size, everything.
Great
Good
size,
hands,
dude. Holy shit, they're both
great
massive.
size. Yeah. So, but he's the first rookie ever to score 10 touchdowns in his first 10 games. I think he's the best wide receiver in the class. I mean, you can make a case for Justin Jefferson or CeeDee Lamb, but Chase Claypool legit sees, I mean, maybe a third of the targets that they see. I don't know if you can look that up, but he has way less receptions. He doesn't get the ball. He's technically the third receiver on the Steelers depth chart behind Juju and Deontay Johnson. And he still has 10 touchdowns in 10 games. 11, actually, I think, now. After last game.
He's
I can't
pretty
remember.
high, yeah.
So, I just think like there's this one play I remember where it was against the Broncos and actually no, yeah, it was against the Broncos and it was the 80-yard touchdown. I feel like it's an easy play to pull out for him. But it was like he was wide open down the field and Ben threw this absolute beautiful ball in. And I swear to God, if Ben throws an accurate ball more often downfield, Chase Claypool gets more and more touchdowns each week. Because Ben, it's not the same Ben, he's better in the 10 to 15 range rather than the 40 to 60. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. He's a beast downfield. If we had Russell Wilson or if Russell Wilson had him, and it'd be the same thing you'd see with DK Metcalf. He would lead the league in receiving yards, and he would be, same place he is with touchdowns. So, but yeah, that's my breakout player.
All right, that's fair. He has 10 currently. I just checked. I was
10.
just briefly looking
2
at that.
rushing, 8 receiving.
Yeah. Wow.
Both of those rushing ones were against the Eagles, right? Or no, just one of them was. Another one was against the Browns, I think.
Yeah. Where was it? Yeah, I don't know. I want to emphasize the fact that there's more and more receivers coming into the league just being built. Like I make this comparison lightly. I make this comparison very lightly, but there's more and more
Like
receivers
Calvin Johnson.
like Calvin Johnson, right? I'm not
I
saying
mean,
they
it's not
have
even
them.
like
They're
they're
not
built.
as good necessarily,
Yeah.
but they're built like Calvin Johnson.
You want to know what Calvin had though was he was a much better jump ball receiver
Oh yeah,
than these new kids. These new kids just like to run. They're like gazelles. Calvin was like a
they're
lion.
fat. They're fast and huge, right? It's crazy.
Yeah. But Calvin was fast too. Don't get me wrong. He can get downfield fast, but if like he's like Julio. Julio is more like Calvin than any of these guys, and Julio's 6'1".
Yeah,
But
which is smaller than both of them.
exactly. But he's just got that dog mentality, and I bet they'll get it when they get older. Because Julio wasn't really great until his 4th season. He was good, but he became like best wide
Julio
receiver we've seen.
Jones.
Yeah. But they don't have that jump ball that Calvin Johnson had. Like I bet you could throw him like DeAndre Hopkins has that jump ball. But he doesn't have the size of the speed. He's just a great route runner.
Yeah.
But we haven't seen it all come together since Calvin Johnson. And if we do, like I don't know, Chase Claypool could do it. He could do it.
I think DK
But I
Metcalf
don't
is
know.
pretty high up there. Don't think he is right now. I think he's doing.
Oh, he can get there,
phenomenal,
dude.
but he can
He's a
get there.
44-inch vertical.
Right. Yeah, I think.
Like
I
if
think
he could get up there,
yeah,
it's just a matter of like
both those
pulling it
guys can
away.
Get up there.
We've seen Calvin Johnson do things where we were legit like no one else is ever gonna do that again.
When the Saints had 2 DBs just lined up on the line of scrimmage against him, there's a reason for that.
No one's ever gonna do that again.
No,
Unless it has to be just like Calvin.
it has
Same thing. It's like a punt formation.
Because like while Tyreek is incredible as he is, you're not going to line up 2 against him on the line, especially when he's just got that speed.
One
right?
over the top. It's a different kind of
it's a different kind of receiver, right? Yeah. Which is why you're never going to see that again unless you get someone just like him.
Bingo.
So
But yeah, I think he's the best wide receiver in this class. That's my opinion.
I would say debatably yes.
He just doesn't see the same. He doesn't see the same targets. Imagine if he had 70 receptions.
I'm saying yes.
Yeah.
I only say debatably, right, because there's other receivers that are up there as well. I think that you can make a case for all of them right now. All of the top 3 right now.
Yeah. All the other ones get looked at like 80 times a game. I don't know. It's biased. It's biased for me. But go ahead. You go.
I was gonna say someone who doesn't get looked at 80 times a game. Well, he gets looked at. Been looked at more and more often recently. Is Justin Jefferson, who we just spoke about.
He's like their number 1 target on their team.
He's the number 1 target on the team, but they have Kirk Cousins throwing.
But he is 1,000 yards receiving and like.
But like
he
last game he had 13 targets. The week before that he had 5. Right. The week before that 10. The week before that 3. Right.
It happens.
Kirk Cousins isn't a great quarterback, but he's making the most of it. Right. Ben is a better quarterback. Russ is a better quarterback than Kirk Cousins by far.
I agree, but I think there's only been one game where Chase Claypool's gotten over 10 targets. I think it was the Philadelphia game where he had 4 touchdowns.
That's fair.
10. It has to be the only one.
You're right. I 100% agree with you, but like it's not like Justin Jefferson's working with a shit quarterback.
Who throws 60 times a game.
Apologies to Vikings fans who throws a ridiculous amount of game, but like just watching Justin Jefferson play is who's a good example?
Keenan Allen.
Keenan Allen's route running. Keenan Allen's route running.
He's legit Keenan Allen. Like if
Yeah.
you watch Keenan Allen's tape, Justin Jefferson said it too. He's like, I study that guy all the time. Like you watch Keenan Allen play, and then go watch Justin Jefferson film. It's like holy shit, it's the same guy.
If I was covering Justin Jefferson, I'd be on my ass in one move, hands down.
Yeah, he's got that step. That Antonio
shiftiness.
Brown, Keenan Allen, Stephon Diggs
Keenan Allen,
step.
Stephon Diggs, Amari Cooper, almost right. Those guys who just are
Amari
runners, route running specialists. He's one of them.
He's slimmer though. He doesn't get open like Amari Cooper's a physical guy, I think, because he's got the weight to kind of knock you on your ass too. He reminds me of Juju, but Juju can't run routes like him. But I always come back to the Steelers. Or Anquan Bolden. Thank you. Another one I can say. He was a Raven.
Yeah, I know he was at one point.
But he was a Steeler killer. But Justin Jefferson, like, and Stephon Diggs and Keenan Allen are all like one, or even DeAndre Hopkins, legit are all like the same archetype of wide receiver, skinny, but they have that quick first step and they have great hands. That's the biggest thing with Jefferson. And he kind of has that speed to get away from you too. That's what kind of scares me about him. Is like he can legit
his speed to me. That's what I notice the most when he's open. He's bare ass open. Like there is no one around him because he's just gone.
You know what? He kind of runs like too. He kind of runs like Ocho Cinco. He like has swagger.
Yeah.
I like it. He's like another skinny route runner. Like it's the feet. It's the feet with those guys.
I mean, Ocho Cinco also has that dog mentality, which I think Justin Jefferson is starting to get. Definitely.
Well, he's a rookie. We don't see it for a while.
I was gonna say it'll develop in his second,
Hopkins
third,
has
fourth
it.
year. Hopkins has it, right? I just see Justin Jefferson being one of the one, like, along with Chase Claypool, along with DK Metcalf. I see them being like the next generation of receivers that we see right now with Deshaun, with Pat, right? All those guys. I think that's
funny because like
this draft class and the last one.
Yeah, Julio's out the door, and DeAndre Hopkins is actually he's in his prime right now.
He's in his prime, so he's not out the door quite yet.
But Antonio Brown's going, Larry Fitzgerald's going. Like we're seeing them all go, and it's this new class. Like everyone's like Michael Thomas is coming into his own. We don't really talk about him as much anymore because he's just a slant runner or whatever. But he's still got the best hands in football.
Right now, it's like the best guys right now in football are the age group of like 28 to 32, and then this new class coming in who's like 22 to 25. Right?
They're right behind him. Yeah, they're knocking on the door.
Yeah, it's phenomenal for me to watch just because like good football is still around the corner regardless of who retires.
Yeah. And I remember there was that big wave where they were like, yeah, it's about to be the running quarterback. It's going to be the thing. Like, look out, mobile quarterbacks. There's not going to be as much throwing in the NFL anymore. And I'm like, all right, that already happened in 1950. We're good without it. Thanks.
Why would I ever?
All right, we're going to do
why would I run the ball when I can just throw it to, a 6'4" dude running across the middle with the speed of a goddamn cheetah?
Like, the football is never going to change into that again. Never.
It's
because there's always going to be a guy who can throw better.
The offensive battle is too easy to win if you have good receivers and you can throw the ball.
Bingo. All right, we're going to roll into Game of the Week next, guys. All right, we're going to roll into Game of the Week for you guys. My pick this week, actually, I almost feel like we did this before, Rams-Cardinals. It's just anytime this division plays, pretty much.
I think it was the Seahawks-Cardinals that we did.
Yeah, you're right. Well, that was an easy one. But, yeah, it was Rams. Might have been Rams Seahawks. But regardless.
Regardless, yeah. It's this division in general.
It's just every week they're fighting for a playoff spot. And this is legit the Cardinals' last chance, pretty much. Because if the Rams win this, they're 2 games ahead of the Cardinals. And the Seahawks have the lead.
The Seahawks are at worst coming second in the division right now.
So. Yeah, at worst. But they have the lead right now, and the Rams are second, and the Cardinals are 6-5 because they just lost to the Patriots. Mm-hmm. So the Cardinals need to win this to hold on to the wild card, because it's actually pretty much just going to be the 3 best teams in the division in the playoffs, pretty much. But if the Cardinals can win this and then squeak out a few wins at the end of the season, actually win out, I should say, maybe hope for a few losses for the people in the division, they could end up second in the division, but. Like you said, the Rams defense is going to come into this game pretty hungry. And I don't know if I would trust Kyler Murray with how he's been playing lately. But if he does play well, he was in the MVP conversation for a good bit of time there.
2 weeks ago, he was in the MVP conversation for the entire year up until that point.
Now we have Pat Mahomes. And it's taken. Pat Mahomes won it.
Yeah.
Just we all thought it was going to be Russ for the longest time. Of course, it just ends up being the best quarterback in football coming in and swooping it out from underneath him. But I think this game, if he plays well, he's back in second for the MVP conversation. Honestly, they need to make a statement here. This is a big game for both teams because if the Rams win, they bounce back from a bad loss, obviously, but so do the Cardinals. It's literally like that's what I like about this game is it's the same amount of desperation from both teams because they both have extremely high stakes. They both played poorly last week. One of them played poorly against a division rival, so that's why I'm almost leaning towards the Rams a little bit. The same reasons as you. That defense is good. The Cardinals play no defense, and their offense is good enough, and they have a good game plan. I was raving about the Rams last week.
Yeah.
Raving. I thought they were phenomenal, but I don't know. You don't lose to Nick Mullins if you're a good team. You don't. But it's divisional. I kind of get it a little bit because, even the 49ers aren't an easy out. They play good defense. And Jared Goff makes mistakes a lot, as you saw. So.
And they're not bad right now
Yeah.
because they don't have the personnel. It's just the personnel's injured. So, like, they still have
The
the
49ers,
same,
yeah.
Still, Kyle Shanahan is still a good coach, regardless.
Good coach. Yeah.
Um,
He was actually supposed to be an offensive mastermind. And that offense wasn't very good last year. So I think Jimmy their defense is really good because of Robert Saleh, the D coordinator, who's awesome. I think he'll get a head coaching job sometime. Probably not this year, but the after next year because they played so poorly this year. Obviously, because everyone's hurt. But I think Jimmy G's gonna be gone. We should stop talking about that's current events. But I think he'll be gone after the season. Honestly, and they're gonna bring in Matt Ryan. Hot take.
Really?
But yep, I've heard some rumors. But back to the game. Yeah, I think I'm gonna take the Rams in a. I actually, yeah, I'm gonna take the Rams. It's hard for me. This is a hard game to pick, honestly. Horrible betting week. Don't bet on sports this week or bet on the NFL. I was looking at some games. There's some blowouts that you can probably pick and choose and parlay a few, I guess. But I'm not betting this week. It is a bad betting week in sports for me. But maybe that's just because I've been cold lately. Who knows? But yeah, I would take the Rams. I would take the Rams in this one, probably by 3, maybe 4. I wouldn't take it by crazy amount. Maybe they roll on the defense, but I think the Rams are going to win regardless. So
Agreed.
that's my pick.
Not only have the Cardinals' offense been deteriorating a bit because people are literally, I've seen it more and more. Especially having D-Hop on my fantasy team. People are just focusing their defense on DeAndre Hopkins, and that really shuts them down, but really limits the offensive power of the Cardinals, and their defense has been, lacking recently.
Well, you slapped Stephon Gilmore on DeAndre Hopkins, and he's going to have some trouble.
Well, yeah, agreed.
It's the best, one of the best. It's the second best cover corner in the NFL behind Jalen Ramsey. So
yeah,
who he's facing this week?
Who's facing this week? So I'm not picking the Cardinals. Yeah, I agree entirely. I think the Rams are going to take this one, not by a lot though.
Yeah. What's your pick?
I have, and this is my game of the week because of the situation. Not a lot of people probably might not watch this game. I think it'll be a really good game to watch. That's the Browns and Titans.
Well, it has serious playoff. Like I said, there's not a lot of serious games this week. That's why I wouldn't bet. There's not a lot of it could go either way. It's a lot of heavily favored or two bad teams playing, and you never bet on those because those can fly out of reach.
Those can go either way. But for me, this is kind of the game of the week because the Browns are 8-3, and not a lot of people realize that.
Yeah, right.
And
now, nuts. Well, they're not going to be after this week. They're
so are the Titans. The Titans are also 8-3. So it's like both those teams to me are not the Titans much less so than the Browns, but they're sus.
Can you believe that the Browns are 8-3? And the Ravens are 6-4, possibly about to be 6-5,
but
might be 7-3.
The teams that the Browns face are the Jags, Eagles.
Well, their 3 losses
Washington,
are to
the Steelers, the Raiders, and the
Ravens.
The Ravens, yeah.
And the Steelers and the Ravens beat up on them.
Mucked them, absolutely mucked them.
So there's a hierarchy.
The Raiders held them to 2 field goals too. So
yeah. Face a well-rounded team, you fall. But face bad teams, you win. So, they're on the right path. They just aren't going to win the big game until they get their quarterback.
Yeah, because
they need their quarterback.
Baker Mayfield. If Baker Mayfield starts playing like he does his rookie season, the quarterback's back. If not, I don't know. It's
Yeah.
not great hope.
Well, even as a rookie, he wasn't phenomenal. He threw 27 touchdowns, but like I said, I don't judge a quarterback on his rookie season anymore. Not since Baker. I can't put faith in him because he won Offensive Rookie of the Year.
And now look at him.
Now look at him.
With
It's a
Odell,
learning curve.
with Jarvis Landry, and like I
Well,
don't know
you
if
know
you
what?
watched it. The game against the Jags. And
Well, Odell's
actually,
ACL is torn,
well,
but
yeah,
yeah.
but like the game against the Jags, have you? So it went viral. That pass that could have been a touchdown pass. He overthrew
So
it.
bad.
Two
Yeah.
guys wide open in the middle, wide open, like bare ass. People like took a screenshot of that and said this ended up being an incompletion. Can you believe that? And I was dying. It's like
But,
you can't. And there was almost zero pressure. The offensive line was doing their job. They have a phenomenal offensive line.
Yep. Dude, the kid's surrounded well, but he has gone through four head coaches and 5 offensive coordinators.
Also true.
That's quarterback killer. It's like putting rat poison out and expecting I don't know, not a baby to eat it. I don't know. It's like
Not a small child.
you want your do you want your quarterback to suck? Like they've done a horrible job surrounding him. You don't the Chiefs they built the team up. They were 12-4. Then they drafted Pat Mahomes.
Yeah.
Same thing with the Steelers. They built up a Super Bowl caliber defense. Then they drafted Ben Roethlisberger. We had Jerome Bettis, we had Willie Parker, we had Hines Ward. Then you draft your guy. The Eagles, they were a pretty good team. Then they drafted Carson Wentz. They won a Super Bowl without him. But, same thing with Jared Goff. They got the team, they got the coach, they went.
The Ravens.
They didn't win, but they went.
Lamar's MVP season, they built up a team. They had Lamar their first full season starting, and he won MVP. Obviously, different story now, but like still the same thing, right? You have a team, and then you get
You
your
surround
starting
them
quarterback.
first. Look at what they're doing. Look at what the Bengals are doing with Joe Burrow.
Not that.
Not that. It's going to be the same fucking thing. I swear to God. Sorry, I didn't mean to curse like that.
That's all.
Bleep that out.
Okay.
Oh boy,
but yeah, it's like it's the same thing that's happening to Joe Burrow, which is Joe Burrow's just got destroyed because he has no offensive line and he barely has a team. As much as AJ Green was good, he's not as much anymore.
Well, he's got weapons on the outside. He just doesn't have an O line. He doesn't have a running game.
No.
But yeah, we got to get back to the game. But yeah, the Browns and Titans.
Yeah.
Like I said, when it comes to February or January or December, and you have Derrick Henry, and you're against a team that's a little bit, they're kind of soft in serious situations. They're going to fall back rather than come to the occasion. So I think that Derrick Henry runs all over him. I still think that Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt have success.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think it pans out to a win for them.
No. Yeah, I agree.
Quite
with
honestly,
that.
so I think the Titans kind of secure their spot in the playoffs with this win. They're wild. They're the 1 seed in their division.
They are right now, yes, and they
then
end
the
up like
Colts.
that most likely.
Yeah, and then this is basically if the Ravens lose, they need the Browns to lose here.
Yeah, that's
So the Ravens can win out, and the Browns can lose some games, and so the Ravens can take that wild card spot, so they can find their way in the playoffs.
Yeah,
but
I want the Browns to lose here because I don't like the Browns either. But at the same time, no, that's it. I just want the Browns to lose.
Yeah. I just got a notification, by the way. The Ravens are practicing today.
Oh, they
after
are?
withholding. Yes, so that I was correct. They withheld so they could practice.
Yeah, no, you're right.
I'm a genius.
Football guru.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, that's it for this week, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure to like and subscribe down below. I guess that's it. Go Steelers, go Ravens. I guess.
Ravens are gonna beat the Steelers on Wednesday. Just so you watch.
Yeah. Well, this will be out on
thanks
Friday.
for watching
or whatever,
again, guys. Though, make sure you like and subscribe. Of course, let us know what you want us to do. Otherwise,
peace out.